I hate Sims, and today in this video I'm getting revenge on all the Sims I hate the most. I built a luxury hotel where I kept 8 Sims who I thought were the worst of the worst. The twist is that everything in this hotel is dangerous. The Sims I chose were Bob and Eliza Pancakes, Vlad the Vampire, Judith Ward, Thorn Bailey, Nancy Landgrab, Don Lothario, and Bella Goth. Not because I hated her, but because I thought she was too iconic to leave out the video. I started the challenge at midnight and began to release the Sims from their rooms. Almost immediately, Thorn Bailey wet himself. I then caught Bella flirting with not just Don, not just Thorn, but Vlad as well, all whilst being married to Mortimer. Strangely, she didn't have a romance bar with any of the people she flirted with. It soon became obvious that the one bathroom situation was going to be a problem, just like I had planned. Judith then joined Thorn in wetting herself, and was clearly not having a good day, because straight after, she drowned. Getting the first death of the challenge made me very happy, especially because it was all in the first day as well. Day 2 began with Vlad frantically cleaning everything, and sadly it ended that way as well, because nothing interesting happened today. Luckily, Day 3 made up for the lack of action in Day 2, and Thorn Bailey became the second death of the challenge, also by drowning. Vlad hadn't drank a Sims Plasma the whole challenge and was beginning to pay the price, yet still, all he seemed to care about was keeping the house clean. He doesn't even have the neat trait. Breaking up the monotony, Bella Goth also decided to drown, and at this point I was worried that the pools would be the only thing in the house to kill a Sim, so I decided to add an extension. To be honest, the main purpose of this extension was to kill Vlad. I had noticed that because he was a vampire, he had an advantage, so I decided to add a courtyard, fit with a robotics table to electrocute Sims, a telescope to trigger an asteroid, and a couple of grills so that a fire could start, just to lure him into the sun. Sadly, my plan did not seem to work and Vlad continued to do nothing but clean. I discovered on Day 4 that Nancy had contracted rabid rodent fever from one of the rats I kept in the house. I was very excited by this and was inspired to remove some of the safer entertainment items in the house, hoping that this would force the Sims into the more dangerous activities, like stargazing. Honestly, I can't believe you can die from that in this game. On a lighter note, Jeffrey called Nancy to tell her that he had adopted a new child, although he probably should have asked her first, especially considering that she now had less than a day to live before the rodent disease took her. At 10:30 p.m. that night, Nancy became contagious and was able to spread her rodent disease to the other members of the household. Immediately, she rushed to infect as many people as humanly possible. At 5 days into the challenge, the house was beginning to get a little messy, despite Vlad's best efforts. Luckily, Tina Tinker had decided to visit, and I had high hopes for a cleaner and less broken house. All before I remembered that the door was locked and Tina was not going to be able to fix my toilet. Finally, Nancy died of rodent fever, and just as I was thinking that none of the remaining Sims had been infected, I saw that Don had. Sadly, nothing really happened on Day 6. A week into the challenge, Don was not having a good time. To be fair, no one was really, but Don especially. His needs were in the red and he had rodent fever, and the house was a mess. On top of that, he had passed out, wet himself, passed out again, and then become contagious, all in the span of an afternoon. And then he drowned. So, not his best day. The house was really getting filthy on Day 8, and I was getting bored. So, in an effort to spice up the challenge, I had Vlad light a few fireworks, and the first firework was a failure, as I had forgotten to remove the sprinklers from the house. But the second firework was a great success, and I got a triple kill. Vlad had come close to reaching the end of the challenge, but ultimately placed third. That left Bob and Eliza fighting for first place. I suppose you could call them a power couple, reaching the end together, and I wondered if one of the two would sacrifice themselves for the other and put them out. But neither did. Bob was the second to fall out of the final 3, leaving Eliza as victor, although she had little time to enjoy her victory, because she died shortly after. I guess that's the end of it. 8 Sims dead, and still, I don't feel that it was enough. Maybe I need to make a part 2.